So apparently AH's team has decided to report us to the SPLC. Why? Because of a shirt that we have that is aptly entitled, quote, "Cry Harder." That's right. Now me, I may have returned the favor for Team AH, reported them to the SPLC. Why? Well, there's a part in this video right here that talks about group affiliation. Paul Baresi, he posted this. It's beautiful too, because these people, they out themselves. They out themselves as something the SPLC has already deemed to be hate. Oh man, I mean, wait for this. This stuff is absolutely glorious. See, me, I get the feeling that nobody wants to be involved with Team AH. And these are people, by the way, that have bragged. They are part of Team AH. They are part of a conspiracy. Well, nobody else wants to be looped into that, where they're trying to weaponize police, CPS. They're laughing about it and so much more. You and I, we're going to talk about all of that today, too. Crazy fun times, huh? Crazy fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. When I first heard that AH's team was targeting this specific item and bragging this was going to take me down, I thought there is no way that this can be real, right? Well, AH's team, they decide to prove me wrong. How do they do that? They write me a letter where they admit this is exactly what they're doing. More than that, too, they admit that they have tried to weaponize the police in the past, but they try to maintain deniability when it comes to CPS, even though they've been bringing that up as well in their postings, which I'll show you in just a moment. This is their admission to what they're doing with the SPLC. This is going to backfire tremendously. There's a certain word in this that's going to mess them up. Look at this. I'll point it out. You should stop thinking that naming AH in every post, in every video, and merchandise absolves you of any accountability to attack anyone. The logo of yours, my logo, by the way, is a universal umbrella symbol. It's something you'll find at Walmart. You'll also find video games that use it for a different reason and so much more. But that attached to a white ghost. So they're telling you that is a ghost. They're admitting that it is. White cloth is terrorizing when it comes to AH and Chris Boozy, a black man. How does AH fit into that narrative? Not really sure. If organizations like the SPLC decide it's white supremacy, that label right there, it's going to come back and haunt them in just a moment. And inciting violence against AH and Boozy, that, like any other report, is up to their interpretation. Now, I'm going to show you how that backfires in just a second, but before I do, I want to tie these people directly to AH. See, one of them, they tell you point blank they were in a conspiracy with AH and AH's lawyers, and listen to what they have to say about that. Quote, "My name is, I was in a conspiracy with AH's lawyers, Eric George, Richard Swartz, to intimidate, harass, to annoy JD in an effort to destroy his reputation, to ruin his career, to stress him out, and to make him drop his lawsuit against AH. Now, in the aftermath of the trial is where these people, they really make their mistakes. Why? Because they expand their targeting. They try to target other people. That includes myself. I've been listed in 2 police reports plus a Fed police report, and you have other people listed. That includes one Paul Baresi. Now, that expanded targeting is where they really mess up with the SPLC. Why? Because you have them targeting Paul here. Paul, he decides to upload something about it where they try to interfere with some litigation that he had going on. It has nothing to do with AH, by the way, but Team AH still tries to pay the man back here. And they epically mess up by doing this. So the guy doing all of this targeting, he loves to brag, and he messes up in part of his bragging. I'm going to play you about a minute or so. Listen to this. I mean, it really does backfire.
This guy has some big enemies. I'm waiting right now for a phone call from John Travolta and Tom Cruise. They're going to be calling me back later on today. These guys are having a ball with this. Paul Baresi is not going to see a dime. You know, this is a guy who claims to be the big shot. He's got a book, and he worked for Michael Jackson. And now he's suing Trader Joe's because someone called him an old. I am an American patriot. I am a member of the Proud Boys.
Now, right there is where things backfire and tremendously. And I made sure to bring this up to the SPLC. Why? Well, they don't recognize umbrella symbols as hate. They don't recognize the Ghostbusters or symbols like that as hate. But you know what they do recognize as hate? The group that he proudly talks about being affiliated with, while of course he is also talking about targeting. I mean, if you look on the SPLC's site, they discuss this as well. They tell you about extremist groups. They name that specific group under ideology as general hate. Yeah, that was a big screw up. A big screw up that I made sure to point out here. Oh, man. I mean, you talk about messing up and messing up big time. These people, they keep doing this. They keep doing it to themselves, too. And outside the backfire with that group, by the way, I mean, who would want to be involved with Team AH doing what they're doing when they're saying also, you know, it's not just the Southern Poverty Law Center that they've utilized. They mention the police. They mention CPS. They tie all of this stuff together. Yeah, listen to this statement here. It's not CPS or the police that should have that umbrella guy concerned. It should be the Southern Poverty Law Center, the SPLC. Do you think that anyone that is tied to this, do you think that they would want that on them, especially when you're admitting to targeting children? Absolutely not. Plus, they're going to recognize the shirt right here, Cry Harder, that you can buy, by the way. There will be a link in the description, but you can pick up our merchandise on ThatUmbrellaGuy.com. Props to Ray Haylock for helping me set this stuff up. His website is linked at the bottom of my website, so check that out too. But why would anybody want to be tied to these folks? That's what they don't get. They keep losing. This stuff keeps backfiring. They get more and more desperate, which is funny in that. But they keep burning bridges for AH and for themselves. Man, I mean, what's next, right? But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Can't say that enough. If you want to help out the channel, by the way, link's in the description. Want to pick up the shirt? Link is in the description too. You being here, though, that is very important. So thank you. I appreciate you. Gonna end here. Oh, man. I mean, I really do wonder what's next, though, right? Oh, fun time stuff. Oh, thank you, too.